Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Clubhouse. Get inside. The air conditioning got it nice and cool. Your favorite beverage. I got my cigar. And to our buddy Ed, who says, break out with the leather pants. My friend, leave your chaps at home. But no, man, that was over there. So. Oh, yeah, behind the curtain there. Hey, great music. I was thinking about some of these highway drives that I've done here in Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Hampshire, and just you get on that stretch, you just want to crank it up, man, and just hope that the trooper is, at the diner enjoying his lunch or dinner break, and you're just enjoying your long ride with that music playing at maybe 90 to 100 decibels. So thank you, Shane. Speaking of which, Shane can't make it tonight. The man's at work. He's got to make he's got to pay the bills like all of us. So,
I see him in the chat though. So
yeah,
he's hiding out, not working again.
Yeah. Not working that hard.
Yeah. So and once again,
So
once again, is he in the commissary or is he in the men's room right now? So, Beer Snack is at a birthday party. Happy birthday to Beer Snack. I believe he said he was 40 years old.
The big 4-0. Yep.
The big 4-0. He looks good for 4-0 and everything. So we wish him a good evening. But guess what, man? We've got a fantastic show. I know we say that every week, and sometimes it either nosedives into like Carlos jumping on the, jumping at 12,000 feet, or other times it's like, Rocket Man, Elton John. But tonight, man, I think this is going to be an Elton John show. I really do, because we got a great guest. We got some great company coming into the Clubhouse. But before we pull them out of the green room, they're still getting some hair and makeup done and shit. Steve, what do you got going on?
So I actually had somebody reach out to me about how to upload a twofer from Parks on the Air. So I got that video. I tried to do some edits on it, and he said, no, just go ahead and call me out. It's okay. So I went to remove those, and it keeps crashing my computer. my video driver does not like DaVinci. I'll get that edited. Hopefully I'll have that up here in the next day or two. So you will see a video from me this week. I promise you that.
Steve, do you follow... Go ahead, Molson. Questions first.
I was going to say, my video editing software never fails. So, that's what happens when you don't actually edit a video.
It's on your internet.
It doesn't fail if you can't edit the video. Got it.
Exactly.
Steve, do you follow the Facebook page, POTA, Parks on the Air?
Yeah. I'm one of the mods on there. So,
okay. I find it interesting that a lot of repeat questions come up. Mm-hmm. And granted, I want to say everybody seems to be pretty good lately. I know for a while their tensions were getting high. I guess we have to just say, hey, everybody, just remember, treat it like it's a radio. It has a VFO. It has a power switch on. Don't get aggravated. Because at one time you were new and you were trying to figure out where to get all this information. At one time you were so excited, like it was a girlfriend that you had to see every night and take her out for ice cream. And you wanted to go for that walk and that drive. And you wanted to hold that hand and you get that first kiss and bam, lightning bolts happen.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so POTA is the same way, man. No disrespect to the women inside our lives and everything, but POTA is the same way. But it's very interesting with some of the questions now that have kind of, right?
And a lot of them are covered in the FAQs that are on the POTA site. And it is on POTA.app now, so you can find the questions from there. You don't have to go to the old site.
Right.
But they are out there. So, yeah, it's fun to kind of field some of those. And I did actually get out on Saturday as well.
The only reason why I bring it up, because I went to Bean's funeral service today. Guys, great turnout. The Clubhouse provided flowers. We had a nice spray up there with our banner, the Clubhouse. And, I didn't want to be an idiot. I didn't want to be one of the guys to go take the selfie or take the picture of it. It just wasn't appropriate. But, man, it looks so damn good. That florist, I'm going to call the florist tomorrow and thank him. For what a great job. But one of the guys came up. He was from Connecticut. I met a couple people who I've never met before. Talked to him on the radio. Mm-hmm. And one guy came up to me. He says to me, I'm afraid to put something out on POTA. Just clarify with me. And I explained the question, and then I said to him, I said, listen, just get out there and activate. The most important thing is make sure you're in the park. That's all you got to do. And that's an easy one. I showed him a couple of tricks, but I said, just activate. Whether you make one contact or whether you make 100, just, or guess what? If it's going to be like a rainy day, like to me, I came home, I was getting ready to go out, and the rain came. I felt like Charlie Brown. But guess what? I started hunting from home from a little bit. You got two choices. The hunting one's the easy one. The activating, you got to do a little more, but that's okay. That's this hobby and everything. So, but he thanked me. He said, if you know anybody who runs the, the POTA, as a moderator, and he gets a lot of good information. So, Steve, for you and the other volunteers, thank you.
Yep,
it's a work of love.
But yeah, speaking of POTA, I got the gentleman that reached out to me and 3 others in a twofer, but he gave me a 1-1.
Okay,
I'm running a 4-element step IR and 100 watts. I know he can do better than that, especially since they were on live. But
I meant to. Did you see the picture? It was either a Jeep Bronco or a Land Rover. The guy put the step RRL. It was one of these memes going around. I saw it on Discord. I saw it on a few other places. I meant to send it to you personally, saying, "Hey, Steve, there's no such thing as you can't get on the air."
That's right.
It was pretty cool.
Yeah, he was just busting my chops with the 1-1, but that's what brothers do, right?
Hey, listen, when they say barbecue chips to me on the radio, that's exactly what I say. 1-1.
Yeah.
Joe Breck, good evening.
Good evening.
Breck, good evening. What are you doing down there, man? You staying cool and dry?
I'm watching this weather, so if I happen to drop out, the power, hopefully it was just the power that went out. But we got that Tuesday night rain coming.
Every Tuesday night.
I was gonna say they have generators for that.
Yeah. I was sitting there watching it on radar, and it went from hardly moving to holy my Miss Mary.
Mm-hmm.
That sun gun jumped and went from 50 miles an hour to 90 miles an hour, and it'll be here in a little bit. So if you see me ducking and stuff.
Somebody kicked it up and put it in the giddy up, as we used to say up here.
Yeah.
So you got those anchors deep in the ground there, Joe?
Nah, I ain't got no anchors on this little shack.
Oh.
Yeah, I got it weighed down with stuff.
There you go. Treasures will weigh it down.
Yeah. It survived so far, so maybe. Ed said any warnings yet? Yes, we are under a severe thunderstorm warning for 60-mile-an-hour winds and hail.
Yeah.
So. Well,
Molson,
that tower should hold up.
Molson, where's your black T-shirt tonight?
Oh, just breaking all kinds of rules these days.
That's
I'm technically
one.
supposed to be on holiday.
You're a rebel. You are a rebel.
Exactly. Yeah. I'm supposed to be on holiday. I've gone into work 2 days this week, and I got at least another day. So I have 2 weeks of holidays. So as of this weekend, we're driving north, and I'll try and do a couple of activations along the way in some parks that have never been activated. I talked about that on a previous stream. And get some fishing done and just have a good time with the family. And that's pretty much it. Not much else. I don't have much to add to the pot here.
Hey guys, if anybody in the chat, if you have ham alert, I know we said this 1,000 times, but once again, put our call signs in. Put our call signs in your ham alert. And for those of you who've been looking to work with, who want to work with Daniel Molson, there you go. Vern, thank you.
Good to see you, Vern.
Hey, it was announced on, I believe, on Jason's stream the other night that Vern secures the pavilion for Huntsville. Once again, a lot of things we don't know that goes behind the scenes. Vern, thank you, man. You're 1,001 reasons why I know you're a great guy, and it would be my pleasure and honor to shake your hand someday. So I would really like that opportunity, for just to say hello anyway.
Come on down to Huntsville.
Yeah.
He also, if you're in the North Texas area or Central Texas area, has a very nice camper currently for sale. So look up his information and send him a message if you want a nice camper.
There you go.
I was looking at that tweet the other day.
I was looking at that
tweet the other day, and I was like, oh, how much, And when I did the conversion rate, it was about 100,000 Canadian pesos, so I can't afford
Conversion.
it. So.
Sure, you can. With all your Canadian million pesos, come on.
Yeah, sure. Let's get
Come
on to the real
on.
show, okay? I'm tired of this.
The Pope comes to you. The Pope comes to you, Molson,
Sure.
to float the payroll checks for a week.
I was gonna say,
Hey, guys,
that's just the exchange rate
this is coming from the guy who says that when he goes on road trips across Connecticut. Just to let you know how much I really, take what he says for, anything. I went on Google and I measured the distance on the diagonal Connecticut. It's 119 miles.
Right.
You don't get much of a road trip in Connecticut, okay? So
no, you don't. No, I'll be honest with you. No, you're absolutely right.
You need one mixtape to do the road trip in Connecticut. So
mixtape, what's that?
Mixtape. What the hell?
You know what that is.
The 80s mixtape. Oh my
90s,
God.
but yeah, okay.
Not 90. All right, 90.
So we all know how old you are, man. You were waiting tables when they landed on the moon in 69 or whatever it was. So
no, I was waiting tables in 1981, and I was working in a restaurant. Thank you, Jason. 2.0. Thank you. I told you guys next year. Next year is sort of the goal for Huntsville. This year it's get my daughter up to Yukon. It wouldn't be good of me to put. It wouldn't be good for me just to put her on the bus, right? I gotta go.
Hold on. Are you driving the Yukon?
What?
She has a car, right?
You driving the Yukon?
No. Well, yeah, I'm gonna drive her up to Yukon. No, freshmen are not permitted to have vehicles up there.
Hold on. I want to get on with the show, but if you're driving a Yukon, are you driving across the U.S. and then up, or are you driving into Canada and then
wrong Yukon? Wrong Yukon,
Listen,
my friend. University.
Are you not talking about Yukon, Canada?
No.
As in Yankee uniform Kilo Oscar November.
Yeah, there's a Yukon.
Hey guys,
there's a Yukon in Canada. Is there a Yukon in the States? I don't know that.
Yes, there is. All right, guys.
Goodness, I feel
there you go. There you go. There's the inch tonight, man. We're gonna fire up a new one, man. Great cigar from the EP Carrillo people. So buy it online, buy it at your local smoke shop. Again, you know how I feel. Support local business if you can. But again, if you like a nice, strong Nicaraguan, this is it, man. This is like one of those 3/4 to maybe full bodies, depending on your palates and everything. I had some fun last week in the dumpster fire after this show. Those boys are incredible. A shout out to we should always be making a shout out to the dumpster fire crew. Matter of fact, I'm thinking of I would love to do some type of a T-shirt. And I would be proud to wear it on this show as well as around town, and had some fun playing radio. Although today was my day off, and I had a whole bunch of things to do, like I said earlier, and then it rained. But we're going to see what happens tomorrow. But yes, I think it's time to get the show going tonight. So let's open that door, and let's bring in Michael. And who else are we going to bring in tonight here?
Oh, we got a rowdy crew in the back. I don't know. We might have to keep them subdued for a little bit.
The big question is can this clubhouse fit two Wisconsinites in the same within the same lumber? And Scout said it first before me. So before anyone starts saying, Izzo, why are you saying that? He tweeted that out too. Am I right, Scout?
Yeah. You asked about. I was all excited that Michael was going to be on, and you said, "Well, you can hop on too if you want." And I'm like, "Are you sure there's room?" Because I don't want to.
I've had T.O. and John Crook on my happy hour many times. It's not.
Does it fit? Does it fit? I mean, okay.
Well, it can fit through the door. Yeah.
All right.
There's going to be a lot of cheese this evening.
You have watched.
Once you get like 3 Texas boys in the stream, Wisconsin's no problem.
And Jason, real quickly, once again, man, great show the other night. As always, it's always fun, man. Between your show and TO's and a few other guys where I don't know what the hell y'all talking about. The circuit board does this, the circuit board does that, man. And guess
ham
what,
radio,
man?
It's ham radio, Don.
It's ham radio.
Yeah.
And it's like you come in here and you just have fun, and that's what it's all about. So thank you.
Happy hour on the 28th. Everyone's invited. So
there you go. Yep. I was going to bring that up. I was going to bring that up later. If you got to leave early, we got to make sure I want to get that in too. So, but Michael, so hey guys, I contacted Michael KB9VBR. And I've been watching this guy for about, I want to say about 4 years, maybe right before COVID, the big COVID monster came in. And I really enjoyed this guy. This guy was doing some cool stuff. And it was the same thing. I had the same reaction when I bumped into Mike, KAMRD, on this new thing that everybody was using except for me called the YouTube. And then I found Jason and Josh, and I found Ape and Teal, and the whole list goes on. But Michael was Michael, we were kind of laughing in the background. How long have you been? Because you and Kassler are like, I don't want to say the old
it's like
word.
I said in the pre-show. Yeah, we were talking. I'm like one of the YouTube original gangsters, OG.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. I started in like 2014, 2015. It was me and Kassler. So it's it was a real long time ago.
The founding fathers.
I'll bet you YouTube didn't know what to do with this category called amateur radio, and the analytics. They're like, oh no, we got to start a new binder on this one, right? Or a new file folder on this
something
one.
like that.
But okay, but before YouTube, what made you say, hey man, how old were you? Where were you in your life? I'm gonna go get a ham radio license. This is your life. Michael, this is your life.
I'll give you the really short story. So it's way back when I was 10 years old. Maybe I was 12 years old. I got a world band radio for Christmas, and that just totally piqued my interest in shortwave and whatnot. And I thought, it'd be cool to kind of get your ham radio license. So I went to the library. I checked out a book. Oh, I need to know Morse code. Well, forget about that. So fast forward a couple of decades. It's 1999. You remember 1999?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's one of those years where
that was a good year for me. I know that. So go ahead.
We put little stickers on our computer that says "shut off before midnight." So
oh my God! A lot of us were running. A
I remember that.
A lot of us consumers were running gateways or IBM ThinkPads, and everyone had to say you gotta be cool, part of the cool kids, and call it the ThinkPad.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Well, I was turning 30. I needed a hobby, and Y2K was coming. Hey, let's get my ham radio license. I always wanted to do that, and so I got the book. Oh, I don't need to know Morse code anymore. Oh, but wait. But if I want to get to the next level, I got to learn it. So I got the Gordon West cassette tapes, and
yes.
I studied for about a month. Studied the code. Got my 5 words a minute by the skin of my teeth. Passed my novice, my technician. Got a paper upgrade. Got the CSE for general. That was crazy. And then the rest is history. Got my everything restructured in about a year, so I was able to turn that CSE for general, and then like 2-3 years later, I got my extra, and that's that. So,
did you ever play on like CB? Did you ever do CB for a while, or
no? Never did CB. I was more. That didn't really interest me. I like shortwave. But, back in the '90s, we used to have we take the world band radio camping, and listen to the shortwave stations around the campfire. That was really cool, and then now they're all gone. Scanners, I love listening to the scanner. Back then, police and fire were all analog and whatnot, and we had an active REACT group back then, and I was not involved with them, but always fun listening to their hijinks. And those are the kind of things that got me interested in amateur radio and so forth. Got involved in our local club. It was a good club, and continue to this day, have a lot of fun with them.
Now, is it a big club, small club, county, town? How would you describe it?
Yeah, about a medium-sized club. We got about 40. I think there's about 40, 45 people, in it. Active members is probably about half that, around 20 or so. So, the average club meeting, usually we pull in about 20, 25 people, and do a few things. They're always active with field day. Have a few public service events we do. So it's a couple.
I have to tell you a secret. One of the things that attracted me and I mean this is no disrespect to your content and who you are, but over there in the corner, you have a very old Motorola speaker. And I remember when it was probably about 1993, 1994, I was still a technician, and I picked up one of those Motorola speakers at a local ham fest that we would have here annually. And I love the audio that came out of that speaker. And I wanted 3 or 4 of them. And then when I was cruising around on YouTube and I saw your channel, I saw it. I'm like, oh my God, he's got the Motorola speaker, and it's just got some incredible audio. It's that's an OG speaker. That's an OG speaker.
I found this in a box at a ham fest underneath a table, 50 cents. It looked like absolute crap. Because it was
box.
Yeah, because it was probably installed in some dump truck for like 30 years. Right. So who knows how many times it got kicked and whatnot. So it has this beautiful patina. I cleaned it up, and the speaker itself is the coil, the cone was in great shape, and yeah, it sounds beautiful. I had it plugged into my VHF rig here for years because it just puts out that beautiful audio.
So you get licensed, and what track did you do? Did you start setting up for VHF, UHF in a vehicle at the house, or did you go right to HF in the house first before you went out into what was your path?
No, it was VHF, UHF. I got a handheld, got a little 2-meter for the car. Its repeaters were still pretty crazy back then, so there was a lot of activity on the repeater. Our club had like 7 repeaters, which is insane.
Oh, wow. No.
The central Wisconsin, the Wausau area, is blessed with we call it a mountain, but it's really just an oversized hill. So there's a lot of great spots to stick repeaters, and we were just totally blessed with that. So I got involved with that, VHF, UHF, emergency communications. I've been, a member of the Aries Races group for a long time, and did that for a few years. And then as I got about halfway between that time period from when I had my general and my extra, I bought an HF rig, and then I slowly.
What was your first? Okay, slow down now. What was your first HF rig?
ICOM IC718.
Really? Nice.
Yeah.
Great beginner radio. That's a great beginner radio.
They were brand new when I bought it. Just on the market.
Do you remember what you paid? Do you remember what you paid? Or maybe not to insult ICOM or Ultimate at that time. Did you think it was a lot of money? Was it as T.O. says, one and done?
It was a fair amount of money. I think I paid about $500 for it. Okay. And I bought it. So there was a ham radio, AES, American Amateur Electronic Supply back then.
I remember that. Sure. Yeah.
So there's one down in Milwaukee, and my Christine is she's from Milwaukee, so my in-laws live down there. So we go visit, a few times a year. So we go down and visit the in-laws. I'm making a trip to AES. So I go to AES and I look around and I get that radio. But I want to get on the air right away. So I also get myself a 40-meter ham stick and a mag mount. So I'm gonna plug this thing in the car when we get home.
You have to. There's no way that box can't go unopened. Absolutely.
So that afternoon, I'm at the in-laws' place. I'm messing around on 40 meters, and I think it was museum ships on the air weekend, and like my first 2 HF contacts were the SS Cobia in Manitowoc and the submarine that I can't remember the name down in Chicago. So
nice.
Not bad.
So let me guess, you get it home and now you're like running. I'll bet you that night and the following nights, your brain must have been working overload with, I know, like a lot of us, whether it's Post-it notes or just mental note. Oh, I want to do this, and I got this tree in this yard, or I can mount this over here, and I can run the coax in here, and I bet you things were just your brain was working overtime. Yeah,
I didn't get I didn't I probably didn't go off the deep end, but no, it's got a few guys from the club over. We got an antenna up, and it got on the air, and then just kind of went from there. Yeah, those first couple of years really enjoyed. It was the sunspot cycle was still pretty good. Got a couple, got some pretty good DX that first year, and then it kind of. After that, it kind of ebbed and flowed a little bit like everything does, but always kind of kept coming back to it and enjoying it.
Jody in the chat says the ICOM 718 is the Toyota Corolla of HF of all band. And yes, I agree, Jody. Jody is correct again. I do agree with him. It's in my opinion.
Yep.
You can't kill him. It's a great beginner radio. If you want to learn QRP, you turn the power down, man, and you can put it in your garage, you can put it in your shack, you can put it in the den, the radio room. You put on a tailgate for all you want. Put it in a go box. There's so much you could do with that radio.
I did,
especially if you get one now today, even used. Go for it.
I did everything with that. I mean, I took it out portable, brought it to field day. Digital stuff, I did all of that with it, and worked the world. They're beautiful rigs, and I had it until maybe 2019. 2019, I sold it at a ham fest, and I let it go for probably less than it was worth. I probably could have after 20 years, I probably could have recouped my investment on it, but I knew the guy, so I gave him a really good deal. And
there you go, Scout. Did Scout buy it from you?
No.
Scout, I got such a deal for you. It's only $700. Look at this. You can work the world. I'll even throw in the microphone.
There you go.
There you go. So, Michael, when you're playing around, primarily sideband, what do you like to operate?
Okay, now I like going out. Parks on the air. That's a big thing. That's a lot of fun. Otherwise, it's just sideband. The 40 meters, 20 meters. Usually Sunday mornings, I might get down to 75 and listen to a couple of the Sunday morning nets. But kind of, the last few months, I've always had, digital has always been a pain in the butt. Working for me, and then finally kind of cracked that nut, and now I've been doing more and more of that, especially when the band just isn't playing very well. But really sideband. I love sideband. So it's I spend.
How long have you been? How I got into Parks on the Air just as it was starting to gain some momentum. I think it was about a year or two before COVID.
Yeah.
And there wasn't a lot. Well, in today's, and if you look back now, people would say, "Oh, that's not a lot." There was still a lot. There was that slowdown. The slowdown days of Tuesdays and Wednesdays were kind of a slow period. I have a rotating work schedule, so I used to be like, "Oh no, what am I going to do on a Tuesday day off?" But I still went out. You still made contact, so you still did at least your 12. You wanted to bump it up to 15. You moved to another park. So did you get in like about my time, or were you just like the last year or two? Like, what was your big thing with your big jump?
So my first exposure was actually a few years prior to that with the league's National Parks on the Air.
Okay.
And a buddy and I, we spent a weekend and we traveled to Northwoods and activated a in entities for that, and that was a lot of fun. We enjoyed that.
The national parks,
the national park entities. In Shane's
did the
backyard.
bug bite? Did the bug bite right then and there, as they say? Like,
it
oh
did.
my God!
Like I said, field day was always like a religion. It's one of my most favorite operating activities. So Parks on the Air is just that natural progression to it. I think a couple of years later, I was doing, this was maybe 2017 or 2018. I think I made it around 2018. I was out doing a jamboree on the air with a bunch of scouts, and I need stuff to tune into so these kids can hear people on the radio. So I'm tuning around the dial, listening, and I get these people exchanging these weird K numbers. What the heck is this? So we make a few contacts. It's so the kids can see see some activity and whatnot. And I'm logging them down, and then I look it up. Oh, hey, this is parks on here. Hey, this is pretty cool. Hey, I can do this. So it's and I think I really started to get active with it was sometime in 2019, and I don't remember the exact first. I could look it up.
Wait. We have somebody over
How
here.
about September 26th?
See, there you go. Your first upload, your first part, that first ADI file. What's an ADI?
49 contacts at Governor Thompson State Park.
There you go.
Thank you, Steve. This is one of many reasons why we keep Steve around.
That and the comic relief. So
there you go.
So one thing I didn't realize my microphone wasn't connected properly, but one of the things that I have to say, you were talking about Mike's YouTube channel before, and I'd have to say that my observation would say that you probably have one of the gentlest spirits or characters on Ham Radio YouTube. I'm dead serious. It's just a very calm demeanor, very friendly, very welcoming, and that's why I think a big part of, because there's a lot of activation videos out there, but you have scenery. It's a very, very, very pleasant video as far as for probably one of the nicest, like I said, softest spirits in Ham Radio YouTube to watch and listen to. And I really appreciate it. And I have to say, Mike, I'm going to bring it up again. So a couple weeks ago, I forget when I mentioned it, but when I was at Hamvention, I was in the Icon booth. Mike was there, and Shane was behind me. And I see Mike. I'm like, hey, Mike, nice to meet you, but I want to meet your wife. And I go and shake her hand. And Dave Minster was there. And the conversation got cut really quick. Like we didn't have any dialogue or anything like that. So Shane and I left, and I'm like, I think that was really awkward because it was like, who's that creep, right? And so one of the things about Mike's videos is that I would say my wife supports me in my hobby. It's more like, yeah, go play your thing. But in every video, your wife is there. You guys do a lot of camping together. So as a couple, you guys are very active together. She's very supportive. And so that's what my whole point was. She's kind of like the rock star, the, supporting wife. But it's a great
She'll
balance.
love to hear that.
But it's true. Listen, anybody who's married knows it's true, right? If your wife supports you and encourages you, you can't ask for anything better, right? And so just the whole video is just all your videos, the camping, the scenery. You've been doing more scenery lately, and then also you have your videos where you do some more educational Q&As and stuff like that. So when I was studying for my license, I was watching a lot of your Q&As and different videos that you did on antennas, and so just great videos. I'm a fan of your YouTube channel, and thank you for what you
welcome.
do.
You're welcome. No, I really, she really enjoys going out there, and we like to have fun together. We really do, and we can bounce stuff off of each other, and we can call each other names, and it's all it's all just fun.
Michael, is she your antenna girl? Does she know how to set up the antenna? And I'll bet you the answer is yes, right? She knows how to set up the antenna.
Oh yeah, she does. She does.
All right then.
If she'll tell me if I'm doing it wrong too. She's I forgot something.
Ask any of our wives. They'll always tell us when we're doing it wrong.
Yeah. Do you need this? Do you need this? Did you forget something, Michael?
If it wasn't for ham radio, we wouldn't be able to back up the trailer.
There you go.
Does she have her license or show any interest in getting her license, Mike?
She's got her license. She's a technician. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Awesome.
Good deal.
And
Awesome.
my daughter is too. My adult daughter. My son isn't yet, but he hasn't shown the same level of interest. But,
so at the
there's
very
always
least,
hope.
when you go to a park, you can at least work her on 2 meters and 440 simplex, and that's too big. So that's 2 contacts right out of the gate. There you go,
Yep.
guys.
And we've done it. We've done it a couple of times there. Yeah.
Sure. Yeah.
Actually, I know a guy. Well, you probably know him too. Does W9 or W8 TAM. He and his wife have 2 of those ICOM quad band handhelds.
Correct.
So when they go to a park, 4 contacts.
4 contacts. Yeah, Julie contacted me one night. She says, "Why are you struggling?"
Yeah, we did that trick this last weekend when RJ K9VBR joined me and Greg. We sat around the picnic table and we had a Yaesu radio, so we did 2 contacts each, 440 2 meters, and then 442 meters on CFM 4. So we ended up getting 4 contacts at each. So
there
hey,
you
Scout,
go.
Scout, did I make it into your log? Because when I was chasing you guys, you came up and then you dropped. And there's nothing more frustrating. Do you remember if I made it into the logs?
Was that the Saturday afternoon log? When
I think
Steve
it was
got
Saturday.
The 1-1?
Yeah, probably. Hey, I don't care, man. I don't care if I'm one. Yeah, I was just because there's nothing more frustrating. I think as POTA activators, as well as hunters, I guess it doesn't make a difference. When all of a sudden the signals are strong and then someone flicks the light switch, and it's so frustrating, and especially when it's a friend. Yep. Especially when it's a friend. I don't care, Texas, California, Wisconsin, Canada. I don't care, wherever you are. And I just want to say a few more words like, "Hey, man, how you doing out there?" You know what I mean? And not to screw up your, everyone gets into their groove of their activation.
Well, if you got the first one when there was 4 of us, there was no groove. It was it looked like a mosh pit at a rock concert. What are you telling me?
What are you telling me? Shaq and Greg didn't have his groove on?
No. Well, it was Greg, T.O., myself, and my new friend Aiden, who came down. First time I met him, he came down from the Duluth Superior area. So that was about an hour and a half drive. So thank you, Aiden, for coming down to hang out with us.
Cool.
And
excellent.
We're busy looking at antennas, doing an activation, and we weren't organized like we were later on, where everybody's sitting down and you pass the mic around. We're just kind of dancing around, and then 2 go off and start having a conversation. And oh man, I'm doing an activation quick, and so and the band was like a yo-yo that day. I mean, people were coming in just booming, and all of a sudden it was dead quiet, and then they're back again. And I don't think I got you in the log, so I don't remember seeing it.
All right. Jason, didn't you have that at Ray Roberts about 3 or 5 years? Or no, not 5 years. Maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Were you guys at Ray Roberts? You had like 7 guys all in line. It was something, and I was trying to picture that in my head of like a deli counter. Get in front of the radio.
That was the time that Mike was trying to call you, and he was like, and you weren't getting it. And he was like, ham harder, Don, ham harder.
Yes, it was frustrating. Frustrating. Yeah,
so there was a good group of us there.
It's you kind of got it, but like you guys said, once you get into the groove of that. So now, Michael, have you done anything with more groups on your POTA, or is it just you and your wife? What do you kind of like?
I've done a couple of groups. A couple of years ago, I got a few of the club members together, and we did the Wisconsin. The state of Wisconsin has a Wisconsin's Parks on the Air weekend. That dovetails with Parks on the Air, and we did that once as a group, and that was a big. That was kind of a cluster, but it was still a lot of fun. But most of the time, it's I usually go out solo. I have an open invitation if anybody wants to activate with me. We'll set up a group thing, and do something. But for the most part,
hold on, Michael. Breaking news from the National Weather Service. Meteorologist Joe Brett would like to come in and make an announcement.
Yeah, so before I have
Joe,
to
can
mute,
you hear us?
Yes. I'm in the barricade here, and before I have to mute probably for the rest of the show, let me get my talking segment out of the way, and we're going to use this as a little segue, I guess, into another topic that I think the chat's getting a little antsy at. Overlanding for Fun mentioned the J-pole for Michael was his first antenna, and the first antenna, sorry, Michael, I didn't purchase it from you, but you were my inspiration to go to the big box store and buy my own copper, and I meticulously measured that thing out, and it was all because of your antenna that I saw that got me started building my own antennas. And I went from doing J poles to dipoles to Yagis, and it just kept going, and I love it. So I think Shane and some of them may be wanting to hear the J poles, but yeah, lightning's going to take me out before long.
Well, then Shane should have got his ass over here, and because I got my list of questions, and that was one of them. And there's no order on this pad, but hey Shane, get your butt in here, man.
He threw it in the chat.
No, Michael has a great product. I have the Slim Jim.
Oh, you got the little Slim Jim, yeah.
That I have to hang up yet, and I have a 220 J pole and the 2 meter J pole, and they work phenomenal. They are great. I get compliments on when I hit repeaters that should be a little bit too far for me, and they ask what I'm using. I'm using a KB9VBR J pole. So
I don't know how many of you seen one, and I wish I had a picture of it because I used to have possession of one, and then the guy wanted it back. It's like a museum piece, but he was cleaning out a shed, and he found the traditional copper J pole in a shed, but they had added like 5 elements to it and made it a Yagi.
Oh,
but
wow.
the radiating element was the J pole. They just had a reflector and then directors, and it worked pretty good.
Good. Look at that. See,
Nice.
experimentation.
There's your other
All right.
idea, Michael.
All right, Michael. All right, listen, Michael. The big elephant in the room has been probably over the last 60 to 90 days. You and the screen.
Oh, the window screen.
The window screen. I like many hams across America. I should have bought stock in this stuff back in January, bought it low, and let me reap on the rewards. And once again, our hobby affords us to do experimentation. That's the key word here. But what in the hell was in your brain was it 3 o'clock in the morning and you said, hey, because I'm sure the guys who did this 25 years, I can tell you right now, actually 35, 40 years ago when my grandfather lit up the gutters around the house.
Mm-hmm.
And then he went down to Florida, but again, he was doing it all on CW. He wasn't playing with, but what made you say window screen? I got an idea.
So the window screen, it's not. I got to give credit where credit is due. And my buddy Dave KZ9V, he does the live chat with me a lot of times. You've seen him in more than a few videos, and he's a great guy because he's always thinking about something, and he loves to float ideas, and he doesn't really have any intention of starting his own channel. His entire career was being a broadcast engineer, so he's done with that stuff. But he'll give me ideas, and he say, "I got this idea for a video. We got to do it. You got to do it." So he says to me, "You remember when we were doing the Minnesota QSO party, and we had the antennas all over the truck, and that Wolf River coil were gangbusters just on the mag mount on the roof of the truck. Well, what happens if we get rid of the truck and we just take like window screen and lay it on the ground and put the antenna on top of that? I bet you it'll work just like the ground plane on our vehicle." And sure enough, he puts it on the meter. He puts it together, puts it on the meter, and he gets a good match. So that's a great sign. And he said, "So yeah, this has got to work. Let's try this out." So I do a little bit of experimenting. I do a little bit of research because I like to go back. If I'm going to talk about something weird and off the wall, I'm going to say, well, who else has done this thing? So I start digging through the archives, and I find a magazine article from 1977 by Robert Sherwood, of Sherwood Engineering, the guy that does those receiver tests. He wrote an article in Ham Radio Magazine with the exact same concept. It says, okay, so this has got to work. So we do it. We set out the screen, do some tests. I put it on the air for a Parks on the Air activation, and the thing works like gangbusters. So I put the video together, and I guess the rest is history.
You once again. social media, Discord chats, YouTube, everybody went crazy over this. Between the local hardware stores, the Ace hardware stores, to the Bobby and Joe hardware store down the street, to the big box load, everybody was selling screens, I'll bet you, for about a 30-day, 45-day period, and said, I'm going to try this. I is guilty too. And it's just been, and I was watching you the other night of whether to clip it with the alligator clip or not, or just put the tripod right on it or whatever, or the mat. Again, guys, just do it. Listen, everyone's soil is going to be different. I think that's the one thing we always have to remember, that the soil in Wisconsin is going to be different from, me here in Connecticut to Steve in Georgia, Jason in Texas, everywhere, Molson in Canada. We don't know what kind of soil. And it's just, experiment with it and have fun. And for $7, come on, for $7 for a roll, you
can't go wrong. Yeah. Yeah. You talk about the soil, and Wisconsin is blessed with very poor ground conductivity. We got a lot of granite bedrocks through much of the state. And so this is probably the worst, one of the worst places in the nation to get, really good conductivity, and it works, it
helps. It helps. Yeah, it helps.
Yeah. So if you get to a place that's got better conductivity, then it's just gonna take off. But
right. Okay, Joe Brett's back. I wasn't sure if there you go.
So undoubtedly, I have the computer and the internet hooked up to battery backup, but not the camera. So got to fix that. So
we're back to all right. We're back to our meteorologist in the field, Joe Brett.
It's dark outside.
Joe Cantori.
Wow. Joe Brett Cantori. I want to see a meme for all you guys who do memes. I want to see a meme on that. Or else Family Guy. Joe Brett's going to be our Family Guy.
I'll meet the rain for you so you can continue.
All right. Well, that brings me a question I've had for Michael for a long time. When you're talking about our geography, or not geography, our
rockology.
Yes,
thank you. I can't even think. Geology. There we go.
Geology. Not as different than genealogy.
Exactly. I've been hanging around ISO too long.
That's an ISOism.
No, if I remember right, your background's communications is what you used to do for a living. How did you get so well versed on our rock formations in the state? Because every time I watch your videos, I learn something. And there's been many times, like recently, I was on a hike along the North Shore, and I'm looking at the rock formations. I thought, man, I wish Michael would do a video up here so I know what I'm looking at. It's very interesting.
I want to bring the rock guy with me.
Yeah. I mean, you're very well versed in that. If I didn't know that if you did mention before that you worked in communications, I thought you would be a geologist.
Yeah, no, not a geologist. I got a degree in communication arts for the University of Wisconsin. Go Badgers. And I specialized, I guess the focus was radio, TV, film production. So it's like just a broad what I did, because I got to take all these other classes, is I just got a broad liberal arts education. So I got the weirdest science classes you could think of, because I didn't really want to take chemistry 101 or physics 101 or anything like that. So okay, let's see. There's a geography class called Map Reading and Interpretation. I can take that for a science credit. So, weird stuff like that. But what really got me interested in geology is actually bicycling. And I love long distance road cycling. In fact, you can see a couple of above my head here. There's a couple of tags there from a couple of century events that I've ridden in. And I've ridden across the state 2 or 3 or 4 times. And when you start riding out on the road for 50, 60 miles at a time, your mind starts to wander. And you go, why the heck is this hill here that I have to ride up? What makes it so difficult to climb? and when you're pedaling along. And that's what just really stirred my interest. And I picked up a couple books on roadside geology. And then I started to put 2 to 2 together, because when you're cruising along at 14 miles an hour, things really stick out at you. And it's like, wow, that's great. Now things are starting to really make sense. And so, because you don't see that stuff at highway speed. And that's what really brought my interest. And then bringing it back to Parks on the Air, one of my goals, when I do a video, an activation video, I'm not going out there and setting up and recording 20 minutes of my saying you're 5'9" in the logs, QRZ.
Right.
I got to give you, why am I in this park? What's important about this park? And why do you need to know that? So I'm bringing, I want to bring all of that context back into the video. So that's why we get a little bit about the history, a little bit about
nice job at it. You do a very good job at it. Yes.
Yep, that's something I stole. I admit I stole that from you right away when I started making videos. Just for that, nobody wants to see my mug saying 5'9" over again. So when I hike in, I make sure
stealing is the greatest compliment.
I make sure I get some nice panning shots. If there's a creek, I get a shot going up the creek. I gotta make sure, because Michael, as well as I do, we live in a very well-versed area with a lot of neat little stuff that's a little different throughout the state. So being able to showcase that is a lot of the fun for me. So
absolutely. So, and that's what I love sharing is that background and that context that makes, because a state park, why is a state park here? It's not because sometimes it's somebody donated a bunch of land to the state and the state needed something to do with it. Well, they'd call that a wildlife area, but there's a cultural significance. There's a geographical or geological significance, and I want to bring that out. And if you look at the last couple of my activation videos, the Screaming Rock and the ham radio camping ones that just came out in the last month, I think they had were just a really good job on those two elements.
So when you're going out, your camper, what do you call that? Your little mini camper, your trailer? What do you call it?
Little teardrop camper. It doesn't typically. It doesn't.
Teardrop.
Yeah, it doesn't really have a name, but.
Well, because I'll tell you a quick story. So back in, I think it was 1999, 2000, one of my closest friends, Steve, you met him, Scotty, when you were up here. And he was telling me, I got to get this teardrop. I love it. Listen. I love my buddy Scotty. He's a big boy. And I love him dearly. But I'm like, we're going to have to take the Crisco and Crisco you on the sides and to get you in and out of this thing and everything.
Can opener.
Yes, correct. But he made it his own. And then when we went out to Wisconsin a few years later, we went out to Milwaukee, and we crossed Molson. This was a road trip, Molson, just so you know. And we're coming across Pennsylvania, and it's Pretzel City and woods and some big antennas, a couple of hams out there. You get into Ohio. And I guess there was either a distributor or one of their warehouses of all these teardrops. And it looked like, I don't know, 6, 7, 10 football fields of all these teardrops that were just basically a generic white. That's all they were. And it was like I reached Mecca, and I took a picture of it, and I never saw a man get so excited about a teardrop. But they have become, over the years, I've seen them, depending on what kind of person you are, for what you, once again, I learned about overlanders and campers. Everyone does it a little bit differently to meet their own needs. And that's why the manufacturers have now done things so wide and diverse. Nothing is no longer that Airstream from the 50s or just that long Twinkie, a Winnebago. There's just so much more out there, different classes now, as we know. But I find it just every time I see your video, again, there's that uniqueness, there's that character, and it comes out like what Molson was saying, and it comes out very nice. It's in the background, but it's a very complimentary, and it's really you. That's the thing about it, because you're really using this thing too.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, when the camera shuts down, you're in it, man. You're in it, and and you're relaxing. So.
Absolutely, yeah. We've had that camper now for 5-6 years, and we got lucky because we ordered it just right before that whole teardrop market exploded. But
That's what they were saying. Once everybody, and then I found out there's a couple of teardrop, like here in the Northeast. I think it's out in Providence or Newport, somewhere out in Rhode Island. There's like this big society of the teardrop owners. There's like 300, 400, 500 owners, and everyone gets together at the KOAs or whatever campground, and everyone, just like how us hams, how we geek out at field day or go to a POTA site, or I hear the teardrop people do exactly the same, and I'm sure the Overland people do the same. So we're all guilty, and it's about having fun about it. That's how I look at it.
Absolutely,
absolutely. But let's talk antennas with you. Okay, so minus the screen, what's your go-to antenna, or how many go-to antennas do you have?
All right, well, I'll tell you a little bit about my antenna farm, which I say sarcastically because I live in a city, the city of Wausau, about population 39,000. I got a residential lot, 60 by 120 feet, with a detached garage. So it's not like I got a lot of space here. 100-year-old house, and I got 2 antennas. Well, I got 4 antennas.
You got a lot of antennas. Don't lie. Don't worry. No one's listening right now. Don't worry about it. And the police are not listening.
I really don't have that much. Okay, so I got a J pull up, of course.
Of course.
And then on the top of the roof of the house, I got a dual band VHF UHF stick. Then for HF, I've got 2 antennas. I've got a G5RV that goes all the way across the property line, tied to a boulevard tree. Don't tell the Parks Department or the forester. And then the other side is tied to the end of the garage. 102 feet is perfect for my lot. And that antenna works great. And then my second antenna is an end-fed random wire antenna, about 74 feet long. I got it tree in the corner. I got 4 trees shoehorned in my tiny backyard. It's like it in the summertime, it's beautiful. It's so quiet. There's a million birds. It's like a beer garden back there. But hanging antennas is a pain in the butt because there's so many trees. So I got that up, and then it slopes down to the front of the house, and there's a fence post, a fence stake in Chris's garden where it's tied off there. So it's
now the G5RV, is that with the 450 ladder line or the 300 ohm? What are you using for that?
The 450 ohm, the window line.
The window line, yep. Excellent. Yep. And how do you get your antennas up? A potato launcher, or a hockey puck, a crescent wrench? How do you climb the tree and say?
I use when I'm out doing a park, I use the 12-ounce arborist throw bag. I've tried other methods. Once I got that throw bag, I'm never going to go back. That thing, they're totally amazing. I can heft them up about 35 feet, which is good for most deployments, and it works great for me out in the field. 2 antennas really, or 3, I guess. I always carry a vertical with me, and I always carry a wire antenna depending on the situation. If I'm doing a day activation, I'm going to put the vertical up because I'm not going to mess with rope, wire, masts, things like that. We just roll down the screen, we put up the Wolf River coil, and I'm on the air in 4.5 minutes, which is the important part. When I'm done,
you ever get
I roll it up. I'm packed up in 4.5 minutes. So,
when you're doing POTA, Mike, what do you like? Do you have a preference? Do you say, hey, listen, I would love to sit here for maybe 2-3 hours, not only enjoy the ambiance of the land and the bird singing and the temperature, we'll call that the environment. Do you say, hey, listen, I want to do between 50 to 100 contacts? Or do you like, hey, listen, I just want to make, 15, 20, 25, and then we'll call it a day and we'll go. What kind of a POTA warrior are you generally?
I'm gonna,
What do you like?
if I'm gonna set up in a park, so we'll say for just like an afternoon, like a day activation, I'm gonna commit. I'm gonna commit to at least 50 contacts. It's because you're out there, and it's I made all the effort to drive out here, and to put up the antenna, and to get everything all adjusted, and I'm gonna do this for a while. So, I know, if I don't want to, I know that if I get on 20-meter phone, I'm going to be in for the long haul, and it's going to be an hour later, and I'm going to have 100 contacts, because that's the way that's the way 20 meters works. So if I don't want to do that, I'll pick a different band. I'll go to 17, I'll go to 40 or something like that, or I'll do digital. So if I don't want to talk to people, but
That's so funny. I don't want to talk to people, but I want to make contacts.
It's funny, Michael's comment about how 20 meters is now, because I started doing Parks on the Air, I think, in 2019. And my first HF was the Zygu 5105, was 5-watt radio, because I was going to be Mr. QRP. And at that time, I was just talking to friends this weekend. At that time, it was a challenge to get 10 contacts for Parks on the Air. There's many times where I was finding a net to check into just so I can get number 9 and number 10 on my list, so I can finally get out of the park. And now, with the popularity of it, and if the sun cycle picking up, it's a golden age where we go, man, I don't want to call out on 20 because I don't want to be here all day. It's a real nice problem to have. And it's fun.
Steve pulled up my first activation log. You said 49 contacts. That took at Governor Thompson. That took me all stinking weekend. I probably spent like 4 or 5 hours. And half the time, and it wasn't because you weren't getting contacts. You spent all the time saying, well, Parks on the Air is this thing where I sit out in a park and blah, 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 blah. And so, but exactly. Like Chris has got go ahead.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead. Finish up.
Oh, okay.
Finish up.
So like on 20 meters, Chris has got a thing where it's when I feel like it's getting about time I need to close down, I'll start doing that about 10 minutes beforehand when I really want that hard limit to get off. And then I start saying last call for about 10 minutes. And she calls that the Midwestern goodbye.
Yep.
If you're familiar with
goodbye.
That's amazing. I say last call and the pileup starts again.
Yeah, it does. Exactly. It does, Jason, doesn't it?
Because the Midwestern goodbye is, you're sitting there, well, I suppose. And then you get up. And then you're in the hallway. 10 minutes later, you're at the door. 10 minutes later, you're in the garage.
Oh, that's great. I love it.
It just...
Well, I've told this story 100 times before, but when I realized what that was, I was at a family function or something. I'm there with my parents. My mom goes to me and my dad. Well, it's time. Wisconsin thing. Well, it's time to get going. Let's go. And I go to get up. My dad grabs me, puts me down. He goes, don't bother getting up until your mom has her coat on and she's at the door.
Exactly.
We're going to be here for at least another 20 minutes.
Wow.
Oh, my God.
It is true.
Yeah, Michael, I just looked. That was a 6-hour activation for you.
Yeah.
That first one.
6 hours, really.
6 hours.
Wow.
Well,
So, Mike,
gotta
have
remember,
have you
too.
ever got an antenna stuck in the tree? Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
My internet's a little tough
No,
for you, so.
No, Molson. That's a great question.
Not the antenna, but I've lost rope in the tree. I'm a little ashamed to admit that, but there's been at least 2 instances where I've left rope behind. So
I'm just our buddy, our buddy Shane. He lost a tree in a tree, an antenna in a tree for about 6, 7, 8 months. Did you actually go get it yet?
No, I never got it back. I waited till the spring when I can get back out there, and it was gone. I don't know if park ranger
Some-
found it, wondered what the heck it
some
was,
big
or
birds, some big birds took it and they
yeah,
made a net.
part of an eagle's
That's what
nest
they-
now. Or,
yeah, the alligators.
yeah.
I lost a throw bag. My knot wasn't good enough, and I launched it, and the rope stayed, and the bag went, and I never found it. It just somewhere in the
Michael,
brush.
it's funny when you were telling us about the arborist bag on Jason's show last week for the Amazon Prime deals. Jason was going through a various amount of topics, and Jason, remember that came up, the arborist, and one guy, and I was at work, and another guy from my club texted me. He says, I'm watching your buddy Jason. Should I get one? I'm like, yes. First of all, it's Amazon Prime Day. What the hell? You got to keep the economy going. But yes, that is a good thing to have. And once you get the hang of it, I mean, I have the true Mississippi potato launcher or the Louisiana. I forget. I think it's from Louisiana or Mississippi. It doesn't make a difference because it came with the warning. This is don't use this because this thing could be illegal. And when I shot it off through a piece of cardboard about 40 feet away, I mean, it went clean through the. So I knew 75 psi can do some damage. But that arborist thing is really a nice. I think. Do you need it right away as a new ham doing things? Maybe POTA, maybe not. But eventually get it and put it in the bag, just like anything else. There's nothing wrong. And if it's like being on the fire truck. If we've got to use it once, it's priceless. It's
there
priceless,
you go.
And get it. So there's some great deals for them, and find an arborist too. Find an arborist in the town or wherever, and ask them, about these things. I'm sure they'll tell you more about it than you want to know. But the most important question: hey, what's the technique of throwing it? Because I've seen so many different techniques of
the arborist around my area use a slingshot for it.
Yeah,
just slingshot. There you go.
Yeah,
So,
if they really want to get the height. So
yeah, but their slingshot's 9 foot tall. So
yeah.
Those throw bags are worth their weight. I mean, before I got into ham radio, I was heavy into backpacking. Some friends had them, and I'm like, I'm not paying $12 for 12 more ounces to carry my pack. Dropping a couple of rocks, my sock works just fine. And then I tried one, and it's like, all right, yep, that extra 12 ounces is worth it because it goes up right away. So yeah, I've been selling those for years.
Yeah, my first one's actually stuck in the tree out front with about 8 feet of line still on it. I got it caught right in the crook of the tree.
Hey, Michael, when you're hunting POTA, I'm because we're all a bunch of big POTA guys, but do you prefer? And this is no disrespect; it just is a personal preference. You're sitting there, whether you're a park to park or whether you're hunting from the house. Do you mind if the activator calls by the numbers or does something? Hey, I'm only going to work the mobiles right now. I'm only going to work the. Does that bother you? Do you encourage it? What do you, for anybody new out there? That seems to be a hard understanding for a lot, as well as some of the veterans who are sitting in the air conditioning in that nice $100 chair. Any opinions?
I think when I'm hunting, the first thing I do, when I come across an activator, I'm sitting at home and whatnot, is I listen, and I listen for at least two sets of exchanges, so I can figure out what his deal is, what's his routine, and how he's doing things.
Golden words. Yep.
And once I got that figured out, then I'll start throwing my call in, because me might be one of those people that grabs the first one, grabs the end, makes it up. I want to bust the pile up just like anybody else does, but you're not going to bust the pile up unless you listen to the pacing of the activator and sort of, I'm not going to say comply, but mimic their style. So it's a
right.
That's what I do. As for advice, I think it's run your activation the way that's most comfortable for you. And I know there's a lot of new people out there, and it's scary the first time, it's scary enough to just pick up that microphone and say something over the air because you don't know what kind of reception you're going to get. But to say CQ parks on the air and wonder, well, is anybody going to come back to me? Am I going to be mobbed? What's going to happen? So, I always have like recommendations on things that you can do to sort of, if you don't want to be mobbed, there's things you can do to kind of tone that down, like pick a time of day that's not very busy, or a band that's not has a lot of activity. 17 meters is a good, if you want the if you want the excitement at 20 meters without all the craziness, go to the 17-meter band.
I agree. No, I agree.
Yeah.
You're absolutely right.
Yep.
Or down to 40 meters. 40 meters is because there you're talking to the locals. People that are you're probably going to be more familiar with. That's one of the things. Turn your power down. Maybe, or if people aren't hearing you, turn your power up. Sometimes that helps. Take it slow. Have a script. Big. One of the big cheat sheets that I always do, especially if I'm not using my own call sign, if I'm using a club call, is I will have a cheat sheet. I will always have a cue card in front of me so that I'm not thinking, I'm just reading. What the and this was this last week the state of Wisconsin, or the Wisconsin section, had the W1AW call sign. So I had this taped to my monitor as I called CQ, because I had two problems. One, I want to say my own call sign, and number two, I want to say K1234 instead of my name. So I got to have those visual aids, and then if I can do that, that really helps me just keep my activation going, is to have something in front of me. And if you're a new activator, I highly recommend that, is to have just those visual aids.
Mm-hmm. Shaq and Greg in the chat, once again, man, you do not disappoint. You do not disappoint about you like being mobbed. That's all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
I'm just going to leave it out. But he's right, though. He is right, because, Mike, it is fun, because 20 meters, you don't know who you're really going to get, because I know for me, like I'll give you guys at the end, cycle 24, as it was going down, Texas was always a struggle. That's why Jason and Mike, MRD, and the boys, Shane, were always breaking my stones. Come on, how come you can't work us, and this and that? It was a struggle, and I would try anything and anything to squeeze a 2-2. As long as I got you in the log, hey man, I'm doing cartwheels, right?
Yep.
But you really, and then all of a sudden now cycle 25 is, and the bands have reshaped, obviously. Same thing with 40 meters. And it's very interesting, especially on a POTA, where all of a sudden we'll say it can be anywhere from, I don't know, noon time to maybe 6 p.m., 7 p.m., or whatever time it is. And that gray line starts moving, and you don't know what kind of DX is going to answer you. Yep. So be ready for that, for the Echo Alpha boys and
Echo
the K30 boys.
4.
Yes, right. Our buddy, our what's the guy's name? And his wife down there in the Dominican Republic, Hotel India
8 something. Yeah.
8 Delta. Yeah. Again,
Delta.
I worked them. I worked them the other night and everything. You don't know what you're going to work. Again, I'm a big 40 meter guy. But I miss right now. It's really shrunk. I used to be able to work up into Molson's area like it was nothing. Newfoundland, Nova Scotia. Now it's kind of tightened up a little bit. It's reshaped. It's going to come back again.
Oh, yeah.
But like you're saying, for the new people, experiment a little bit, and there's nothing wrong with once you get in your groove. That's what it really is. We teach that at work when we get busy as 911 dispatchers who've got to work the radio, because working the phones is its own animal. Now we got to teach you how to operate the radio. And when the cops get going with with all of their various activity, and sometimes it's happening you got 2 or 3 categories of activity happening exactly at the same time, man. We call it the frying pan. Welcome to the frying pan, man. It's bacon. It's like bacon and sausage all sizzling, and then we're gonna get going. And you get into the groove. You get into the groove. You get into the groove, and once you get it going, it builds up your confidence, and that's so to me. And I'm sure, like all the rest of you guys here, your POTA skills start building up also. And you take it from that one day, the 4th weekend in June that we just used to do. Now, to me, and we've heard it 1,000 times, and I still say it, POTA is my field day anytime I go out. When I leave this driveway, or even when I go sit on the back deck or sit over here in the garage, it's my POTA, whether I'm hunting or activating. I'm going to do what I kind of want to do and how I want to do it. And it's fun, man. This POTA, man, I think has really reshaped, in my opinion. I'm very what's the word I'm looking for? I'm very I'm having a brain fart here.
Lost for words.
Yes, I'm lost for words, Molson. Help me out. Oh my God. What am I going to do here?
He'll just use the wrong one.
I'll just
Rejuvenated. Infused.
No. I'm very protective, or no, not protective. I highly promote. Okay, are we gonna play Hangman here?
Can I buy a
POTA has inspired and rejuvenated, in my opinion, this ham radio hobby.
Oh yeah.
Similar to what that FT8 has done for the guys who like the digital. Now the M17 is coming out, along with with All-Star and all and all that stuff. So I think for us who like to play on HF and as well as some VHF 6 meters and 2 meters of stuff, just like the satellite world, that niche starts to grow a little bit. But I just think because I'm in it, I promote more POTA than anything else right now within the hobby.
Absolutely, and I Parks on the Air has really boosted. I'm going to speak personally. It's really boosted my confidence, and just the feeling. Like you say, you get that massive pileup, and you don't totally lose it, but you kind of triage the situation. They say, okay, now we're gonna start working this. We're gonna pick around the edges. We're gonna see who floats to the top. I'm just gonna say a random letter and who comes back to me. But no, it's done a few things. It makes me a lot more comfortable working a pileup and working it through in an entire activation. It makes me more confident and comfortable to understand propagation and how things are working, and kind of understand these concepts that were really kind of nebulous. I mean, we start talking about the A and the K and the SFI, and it's like, I don't have no idea what that means. But let's get on the air and see what happens.
Right.
Yeah. The gray line. Isn't that a bus? Wasn't that like Trailways and the bus service? I'm like,
exactly. All of these concepts start coming. They start coming home to you, and you really start figuring it out. Antennas. Well, what's this one going to do? What's that one going to do? Is one better than the other? And things like that. So it's still a learning experience for me. So that's why I enjoy it so much. I never really got into contesting until after I started doing POTA, and I said, well, I'm going to do some more. I'm going to start dipping my toe in this a little bit more casual contesting. Because now I feel comfortable getting in there and doing those rapid fire exchanges with those big guns. Even so.
And Michael made a great point about. How he picked away at a pileup. For anybody that has mic fright, and like me when I started did everything to avoid a pileup, is you just gotta remember it's not a mob of people coming to attack you. It's a mob of people that want to make a contact with you, and you just treat it kind of what Michael alluded to. You just treat it like a puzzle. You pick away at it. You find a letter here or a letter there. You chip around the edges. Like a jigsaw puzzle, you find the straight border pieces first. You go for the easy ones, and you just.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny how when you've had that pilot, I'll give you an example, and I'll use Steve's call. The Foxtrot Lima station, go ahead.
Yep.
And it's somebody else and then some guy will say, well, how about me? I'm Foxtrot, or he'll give out another Foxtrot Lima somewhere in there. Sure, man. Contact's a contact. Again, there are times when I'm putting them in as fast as I'm doing it. Other times I got a piece of paper and just like you said, I'm just writing 2s and 3s. Okay, guys, I got a list here going. Let everybody know what you're doing. I think that's the most important thing as an activator. Let your crowd, because like Michael was saying, and we all do it, we're all listening. We want to see what has the activator, what tone. He is the orchestrator of this thing. Respect him. I've only had one bad incident where a guy should have said, you should have done it this way. Well, you know what I say to you?
It's my activation.
Well, no, I'll tell you something after we shut down in 45 minutes. What I wanted to say to the guy, but that's neither here or there. You choose however you want to do it, whatever you feel more comfortable in doing, and have fun with it. And that's what it's all about. The F word, FUN.
There you go.
I think one of the things. So I'm not a big. Obviously, you guys know I'm not a huge POTA guy. I'll do it once in a while when the opportunity arises. But preparing for field day and talking at the club, some new hams. We were talking about, there's this. I said this last show. There's this big list of all the dreams and desires that people want, and if we didn't get enough volunteers, we would cancel field day. And I was like, if these guys can go out and activate a park and set up their antennas in 5 minutes, we don't have to have these huge designs, these huge plans. We could do it 2 guys. We could do it 1 guy. And I think to some degree, just observing from outside, POTA has actually pushed more than the ability to run a pileup, which is one of the things I told the guys, if you like running a pileup, go do POTA. But, a lot of times at our home stations, you set up your radio, set up your antenna, and you leave it for 5 years. Right? And you're not redesigning your system. You're not dealing with broken coax, re-putting new ends. You're not like, I want a new antenna. Like a lot of times, a lot of people are satisfied with what they have, right? And one of the things with POTA is it makes you look at what's out there. Like some of the guys who they transition to hiking. I want a lighter radio. You start to learn about the radios, more about its abilities than what you would maybe if it was sitting at the desk. Part of that's also people's personalities. Like some people, like cars, they remember all the information. I don't remember radios, all the information. What's best coax, and you start to learn more, not only how to run a pileup, but more of the technical information that's out there. Like I'm going to wind my own Pactena, antenna. Like these guys are running, and so it also offers a huge, encouragement to learn and to understand more about the hobby than maybe I would here personally, sitting in my shack with my stuff set up permanently, And so, and it was just talking about it in preparation for field day and being like, why would we give up if we only had 5 guys? Like guys go alone. Like one guy, like Shane, you'll hike up a hill and you'll set up your antenna, and 5 minutes later, you're making contacts for the day. And it's like, there are no limitations, and we can, improve the hobby. In different ways, and that's one of the things. Kind of, somebody asked a question about the sad hams, and the people who get on and saying it's a contest, get off the band, or whatever it is. This is a work, 17 meters, and it's a lot of times people are. It's not, like you're not stealing or taking away from the hobby. You're improving it. You're constantly improving it and redefining its abilities. Right. And tomorrow somebody else may come up with something different. It's still radio. It's still within the regulations. And either you like it or you don't. But you don't, those people who comment on the radio, they do not determine what this hobby is. Right. That's not them. And then if if you run into a sad ham, just ignore him. Move on.
Molson, that was the nicest rant. Yeah, I think I've ever heard in 2 hours. But you're absolutely right.
Thank you.
Yeah,
thank you.
It was a rant, but it was
courses
really
are becoming really good.
Wow.
But speaking of 17 meters, Craig had a question for you, Michael. Yeah. And I want to say, if anybody has a question, put a comment in. Start with the word question, and then we'll highlight it. So ask him. So it says, what do you think about the 17-meter whips set up as a V dipole what? The 17 whips set up as a V dipole, or even 2 on a boom for phase V dipoles. Favorite brand of telescoping V2.
I wonder if that's like, you know, like the like a horizontal dipole, like sort of you know, like with the ham sticks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple of different.
Yeah.
There's a few. I think there's a few different things you can think of. I mean, there's like the Chameleon's delta loop, you know, which is sort of like a V-shaped thing. But I think it's I think it's just sort of with the 17-foot whips taken down into sort of a dipole configuration with sort of a center hub, as might be what Craig is talking about. I usually on the 17-meter band, I don't really do anything with the whips as in sort of a flat or a dipole configuration. I always use them vertically. So I'll have the 17-meter whip tuned down to as like a quarter wave radiator in that regards. Or if I've got wire set up like an end-fed antenna, then of course we'll just use that on the 17-meter band. Both the end-fed half waves and the end-fed random wire typically work pretty well on that band. Favorite whips, 17-foot whips. The Chameleon can't be beat. It's a beautiful, heavy-duty, rugged whip. The MFJ 1979 is okay, and not quite as robust as the Chameleon one is. But the MFJ one is just a little bit longer, so it gives you a little bit more working room on if you're using, say, you want to use a coil on 40-meter band as a vertical antenna.
I was gonna say, and MFJ has their big ears set up, which is what I think Craig was referring to.
Yeah,
it puts it up in a V with a coil on the radiating side.
Okay, so it shortens it a little bit.
Shortens it a little bit. It's a decent little antenna system. And if you get the full kit, it comes with a very nice carry bag and the tripod. So
cool.
I'd have to give that a shot.
Hey guys, I want to just take a quick break and take care of some business here. Okay,
go for it.
So first off, I'd like to have a motion that we indoctrinate. Is that the right word there, Scout 75? Indoctrinate?
Indoctrinate?
Yeah.
Induct?
Induct.
Inoculate? Maybe it's inoculate, so
no, we're not doing no inoculations. We're not doing no inoculation. You're keeping your pants up and you're keeping your sleeves down. This is a wholesome show here. What do you think this is?
We're not arming cows.
No, we're not arming cows. This is not that arming cow version. That
he doesn't know that joke, guys.
Yes. Oh, he will before the night's over. Because once we end this, we're going to spend the last 30 minutes just being really who we are. So let's just get this.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. Michael, I make a recommendation that Michael become a member here of the clubhouse. So if I get a motion.
I second it.
You have your motion in second.
All in favor? Sorry. Michael, you are a motion. Right. This is a life. This is a life thing. There are no dues, and you can come back anytime you want. All you got to do is peg one of us and say, "Hey, dude, I like to come on," or whatever, man. Just don't feel like you can't. I say that very sincerely. I mean, this is how we got stuck with Scout 75. You feed the moose. You feed them. What do you guys have up there in Wisconsin? Moose or something?
We don't have any moose. We got.
What do you got? What do you got up there?
We got bears. We got deer.
Okay. All right. You throw an ear of corn, right? You throw an ear of corn out there, and now it's sticking around. All right, but Michael, more importantly, this is called the Izzo Rapid Fire Questions. Are you ready?
Okay.
Somebody cue the music. Like, who wants to be a millionaire?
Game show music.
All right, Michael. Rapid fire question 1: chicken, fish, or steak?
Steak.
Favorite ice cream?
Vanilla.
Barbecue chips or pretzels?
Barbecue chips.
Oh, you're not my friend, but that's okay. QRP or QRO?
Life's too short for QRP.
credit.
Yezu, Icom, Kenwood, or other?
Oh man, I got way too much Jesus stuff.
Okay. All right. Now the most important question. Are you ready? Drum roll, please. Give me a little bit of that, a little bit of that rain. There,
The
Joe
rain
Brett.
drum roll.
The rain drum roll. What's your favorite band?
What's my favorite band?
What's your favorite band?
I'm gonna go old school, obscure. They Might Be Giants.
Really? Look at this guy. Wow. Nice. All right. Now that that's
Very
been
well.
put away, let's get down to the nitty gritty and really have some fun around here. That was good. Thank you.
To say Michael may want to uphold his reputation.
I think he's doing all right.
I thought you were going to ask my favorite beer or something. Holy smokes.
I figured he was going to go with the Bodines to be that same era with the Wisconsin band.
I love the Bodines. Those Bodines, yeah.
Yep.
Or actually, I'd have to go a little bit older and Violent Femmes.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Wow. What is with this Wisconsin homegrown stuff going on here? I don't know.
It's not all
I don't
polka. It's not all.
All right.
It's not all polka, man. See?
We even listened to a little bit of Cheap Trick, even though they're from the flatlands.
Yeah.
They're
right on the border. So it's.
Let me tell you something. Daryl Hall, rather, when he had his show on MTV, there's some old YouTube clips when he brought in Cheap Trick up to upstate New York, man. It's one of my favorite shows. And those guys, and that show is probably 15 years old by now. And those guys were still rocking hard.
Well, I think they're rocking still today. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just amazing. I know Booney Carlos is gone and there was some legal stuff going on, but man, they just amazing. And I grew up with them.
My college roommate was from Rockford, Illinois, and his older brother was at the age right when they started to break, and they lived down the road from Rick Nielsen, and before they got ready to go on tours, they'd just basically have a street party to rehearse our Rick's garage.
Really?
And everybody would just show up and lawn chairs and cooler beer and listen to Cheap Trick.
One of their favorite interviews of mine was when they were talking about when they went out to, was it China or Japan? Live from Budokan?
Yep.
They didn't realize that made them so famous, and when they came back to the United States, their stardom went off the charts. It was just amazing, and then from there, the rest is all history. So, and I remember. Michael, what do you like to drink? Any iced tea, alcoholic, not wine, beer, shots? What do you like? What do you like to partake in?
He's got this.
What the hell is that? What the hell is that? Totally naked. Totally
naked. That's a good ale from New Glarus, the Spotted Cow people. I like. I'm a beer drinker. I enjoy good IPAs. Occasionally I have a bad one, but those, there's plenty of those out there.
Right,
it happens. The old Spotted Cow is good. I like beer with flavor. It's a little bit of bourbon. Bourbon appeals to me. I'm not much of a wine drinker. I had to give wine up because I'm to the age now where it always just comes back with reflux. Tonight I'm drinking my favorite. San Pellegrino Limonada but I prefer their blood orange actually better, the Arancina. But I'm not a soda drinker. It's just coffee in the morning, water in the rest of the day. So
yeah,
45 auto. So serious question before 45 auto is he's asking about the cheese. Do you guys in Wisconsin really have a favorite cheese, or do you just like it all? What's the whole?
Is the curd considered
educate us, please? Because let me tell you, when I left Illinois on my road trip when I hit the Wisconsin border, you knew you were in Wisconsin. Hats off to the Wisconsin people and their marketing. That literally you could be 10 feet over the line, and there's the sign that says "cheese with the arrow to the tourist trap." And you can get cheese literally right over the border coming out of Illinois. There,
if on the gas stations in like Beloit or Kenosha or Hudson, if you're in the Twin Cities, the gas stations will have pallets of spotted cow in the entryway
Come
that
on.
they just
Yep.
recycle daily because it's only distributed within the state. So people come up, they get a couple cases. So it's
Unbelievable. That's funny.
easy. But yeah, cheese stores everywhere. We actually like driving around the back roads, and you can't find them as much as you used to. But these little cheese factories will oftentimes have a retail store, and you go in there and you get the nice bag of warm cheese curds that they dipped out of the vat earlier that day, and they just got that totally amazing super squeak to them.
That's great.
Which is just
Fresh off the
nice.
line.
yeah.
Nice.
You can eat
Nice.
So
What's up, Molson?
Michael, that's the cheese. So a lot of you guys, you go to McDonald's, you have a poutine at McDonald's. The cheese curds are the curds you're supposed to use on a poutine, and the squeaky
Absolutely.
cheese is the good quality cheese. Yeah.
Yep.
So
Fresh.
And isn't it famous now? I know over here in the Northeast, when we have our big fair season is the month of September. Cheese curds has been one of the biggest, hottest. It took over fried Oreos. That people want cheese curds at all the fairs now, and the vendors are bringing them in now. It's just amazing how it's kind of, God bless you,
Bless
Steve.
you.
Oh, gee. Oh my
So
God. We've been
Everybody
eating
put on a
deep-fried
mask. Everybody put on a mask.
We've been eating deep fried cheese curds since I was this tall. So it's
Because
was
again,
gonna
I
say,
remember.
the rest of the states are just behind the times.
I
Yeah,
guess.
man, we're like, what the heck is this cheese? And once you take your first bite into it, you're like, oh my God, this is fantastic.
I was first introduced to cheese curds whenever I used to work at a factory, and my boss, her and her husband, was from Wisconsin. Of course, they went back home and visited, and they come back, and she brings me a couple bags of cheese curds, and I just rip it open and start eating it. She's like, "Oh no, it's refrigerated. Wait for it to get warm." Then it squeaks.
You pop it in the microwave for like 10 seconds. It is just like, amazing.
yeah.
Now, a buddy of mine
just get left on the counter. Like you go to a corner store, convenience store,
right?
Same as you. There's the little bags. They're on the counter, and amazing. But Izzo, when you were saying, the marketing when you drive into Wisconsin, the sign, the first thing I thought of was when I drove into Ohio, and the marketing for hell is amazing in Ohio. I don't know if you guys saw all the signs, but it just made me think of that. Like, you know what I'm talking about, right, Michael? When you were driving to Dayton, all the signs on the side of the highway.
You're talking about the fireworks? Or...
No, I'm talking about like you drive everywhere and it's like hell is real. Hell. Have you thought about hell today?
Oh, yes. We got off the interstate in Richmond, Indiana, and we were going to take the 2-lane to kind of skirt the south side of Dayton. And what's the first thing you see on the hill? This just gigantic cross, and then and then all of the other sides, and it gets a little crazy. So
Ohio is
Mike,
the Buckeye
I had a
state.
question. I know Izzo. Yeah, I know Izzo has a question, but it came to my mind. If there's one thing that you could influence the change in ham radio, what would it be?
Ooh, excellent question. I like that.
Wow.
Oh,
Wow.
if I could
Wolfman.
influence to change. I think if there's anything that if I could eliminate, it would be gatekeeping.
Yes.
I do not believe in gatekeepers, and Morse code was not a gatekeeper, even though people wanted it to be. We can't do that. We got to be inclusive. We got to be
Good
welcoming.
point.
We got to accept all. And if so we're not gonna have these barriers to get people involved. I mean, we got testing requirements, and those are important. And I'm totally for that tiered testing requirement. But all those other forms of gatekeeping out there, you got to have a certain type of radio. You got to do a certain kind of mode. You're not a real ham if. Kind of things. It's if I could eliminate all of that, then everybody has fun doing what they like to do when they want to do it. Some people feel comfortable just doing digital, and that's great. And more power to them. It's just don't poop on my parade. So.
Don't poop on my
Wow,
parade. I
I'm
like that.
speechless. Wow, Molson, that's good. Between Michael,
That was
Michael
perfect.
and
Good job.
Molson, wow.
Yeah.
Well, I the reason why I asked is because I don't think anybody would be offended by your opinion on that. I don't like I come across as harsh and whatever. I'll say my opinion without it, but I think just because of your character and how you come across that, I think people would value your opinion on that. So I wanted to ask you that. So
Oh yeah.
thank you.
No, and it's if you read the comments in my videos, I'm very careful. If I see somebody trying to gatekeep, I'll call them out on it, and it's very politely. It says, it's you're in my space now. If you're gonna say something, you're gonna defend it. Otherwise, it's adios. So
Nice. Good.
Oh man, look, Michael's cooking.
I'm losing
back
my
there.
focus. I'm losing my focus here. Am I back? There we go.
I got hungry.
Joe Brett's been running your videos on loop in the background there. I don't know if you noticed that.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, getting you some watch hours there, man.
Yeah, your analytical data is going to go up.
I'm just waiting for Michael's Dutch oven cookbook to come out because some of those meals you make camping look phenomenal.
That's what that's what was just
I'm
on
still-
there.
I'm working on it. It's a bigger project than I was expecting, and we've actually this summer we're really working through recipes and documenting them and taking pictures and whatnot. So that I really want to have something available by the holiday season.
Oh.
Michael, do you like your four seasons out there? Or do you wish maybe winter was maybe not as long or severe, or But overall, do you like it?
I like the four seasons. It really offers something different because it's not like you get the hot time and then the really hot time and then the really really hot time. We get and fall is different than spring, which is neat. I really enjoy that. By the time the end of February rolls around, I'm done. I sincerely wish that winter would be done with, but it's still, you take the good and the bad. There's a lot of stuff you can do in the wintertime here, and we get out and do stuff. We've done like cross country skiing or snowshoeing and things like that. I enjoy those kind of things in the winter months. The spring and the fall always bring their own special character to the state. We try to go camping into the end of October as far as we can. And then by November, the camper has to get put away and then until March. But other than that, no, we enjoy the four seasons.
Well, if you're looking for a heating device, our buddy Chuck has that nice diesel heater. Go check out his channel here on YouTube. That may be an alternative for you to consider, or as an emergency backup for the house, or or whatever part of any type of emergency preparedness, out your way.
Or if you prefer a nice rhythmic tick, Izzo has a nice little fan operated heater.
No, I've actually archived all of my my videos for the time being. Michael, without putting you on the spot, but I'm gonna. Who do you like on YouTube? Who do I like? You want...
KB9VBR.
Of course.
It doesn't have to be ham radio. It doesn't have to, because listen, let's face it, we all watch a variety of stuff on YouTube.
Yeah, we do, and I like to watch a wide variety of content, and it's not all of it's ham radio content. In fact, I'd say probably a lower percentage of what I watch is ham radio stuff, and I'm watching other stuff because, like I know people are getting inspiration from my videos. I got to get inspiration from somebody else. So, stuff that I'm watching, content that I like is there's a few cooking channels I really like. Let's see, Sam the Cooking Guy, Brian Langerstum are two that come to the top of mind. I really I enjoy them for cooking content. There's some Tom Scott. Oh, I love his channel and how he delivers his content. The History Guy does some great deep dives into certain subjects.
I love watching.
The Essential Craftsman is a really good channel. It's well produced. I like to watch some camping RV channels. Keep Your Daydream is a favorite of mine for RVers, and those people do an amazing job with their videography. So it's that's just a few of the channels that really poke up me. What's that guy? Townsend's.
Oh, I thought you were going to say KAMRD. I wasn't sure, or the Smoking Ape. Do you have a favorite, or if you had and not in this order, but who would you watch regarding ham radio stuff?
Oh boy, I like. Now this is really putting me on the spot because I don't want to make
No.
anybody...
But I told, don't put it. It's not in the order of. Even though we know the first one is always probably, comes to mind first.
Ham radio channels that I really like to see that I think people are doing some good stuff. It's, oh boy, the Scout. I usually watch your stuff when it comes up. I know.
Thank you.
Shane was like, "Whoa, what the hell?"
Whoa!
I don't watch.
He's getting all teary-eyed.
Yeah.
I was just gonna say, look at him. He needs a shot. He needs a shot. And next thing you know, he's gonna be putting another $200 chat in the.
Well, I remember the first time he made a comment on one of my videos. I was wanting to take a screenshot of the monitor and frame it or something like that. And I was like, "He's on my channel."
Oh, yes. So the Outdoors on the Air, Tracy, I like his stuff a lot. So I try to catch his videos. Let's see who else is I'm usually catching. There's a couple guys that I used to watch that don't really produce much anymore, but
Steve or Daniel?
Yeah.
Don Izzo, maybe.
The guy that used to be in Texas but moved to Colorado. Signal Search.
Oh
Yeah.
Johnny.
Johnny
Yeah.
Twist. I loved his stuff.
Yeah. He kind of fell off. That's
Yeah,
unfortunate. I
which
like his
is
stuff.
I know, but life gets in the way. I understand
Yep.
that. So yeah.
All right, Joe Bright, you got a question?
But go ahead, Daniel.
There's two things I want to say before people drop off and we do the round, the 73s at the end there. Number one is, Michael, I was checking out your website. So Michael has a website where he sells his J-pole antennas. I really find them really, really well priced. And I encourage you, if you're watching this, go check out his antennas. And hopefully you guys can find something there that you like. And I forget what the other thing was, but yeah. So check out his thing.
All right, we're going to move into the little Dateline segment here. We got to get serious here, guys. Dunn SKT, I'm going to give him credit. He kind of brought this idea to light for this question. Michael, how does it feel to be the victorious ham operator YouTuber in Wisconsin now?
The victorious?
Yeah, temporarily offline. You ran him out. They kind of want to
Oh, that's right.
manage that.
You ran him. Tell me about it, man. There's a cloud of dust. There's a cloud of dust. My God, he left
Sold
the
out,
cheese
packed
in the
up.
kitchen. He left the cheese in the kitchen.
Cheese in the kitchen.
Oh boy.
Not to put you on the spot, you thought you were
Not
on
to
the
put you
spot a
on
while
the
ago.
What? He thinks he was.
I didn't know it was a
come onto
competition.
You don't come onto the clubhouse and not get put on the spot. Come on. We're all listen. He's family. He's family now. He got
Yes.
voted in. He's family now.
Everybody's family.
All right, Michael.
No.
You got to do Michael before we go around the room and start. Just like Moses said, we're reaching that time. I do need you to do one thing. I need a favor from you. I want you to look right into your camera.
Okay,
And I want you to say the following words. You ready?
Oh Lord.
go for it. All right.
Calling KAMRD. Say that.
Calling K8MRD.
I want you
I want you.
to do the Windows screen antenna video.
to do the Windows screen antenna video.
All right, because on one of Mike's last videos, he was talking about that, and we were all in the chat saying, "Mike, do it," because Mike loves to experiment just like you and so many others. And Mike's a fun guy.
And give it a shot. It
No,
really works.
MRD, you don't. No. MRD, you don't hate me. You don't. Don't worry.
I
give
told
you a
Mike
cigar.
we just need to do it at Huntsville.
Yeah,
We'll
okay,
record
whatever.
it there.
Whatever.
So Mike could do a
There you
new
go.
twist on it, though. He could see how the window screen enhances or de-enhances APRS signals.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go, Joe Brett. So. All right, let's go around. Joe Brett, while you got the floor, take it, Joe. What do you got going on?
I mean, this is the hardest part of the show for me because I don't set no schedules. I make a video when I feel like it's good, so I think the viewers may think it's good. And other than that, I'm hanging out on Tuesdays, so appreciate it.
All right.
It's always good to see everybody.
Daniel?
Listen, I'm just super happy to be here. And Mike, I really appreciate you coming. And I'm happy that I get to clear the air of that awkward conversation at Dayton and Mention. And thank you to all our viewers. I appreciate you.
Okay. Mike, the floor is yours.
All right. Well, thanks for having me this evening. I've been really honored. This has been a fun evening, a lot of fun, and I can't believe 2 hours has gone by so fast. Another video will drop tomorrow afternoon, so it's a short one because I've had 2 live streams already this week. So
There you go.
Okay. Scout 75. You're right, Mike. My friend, there is plenty of room for 2 Wisconsinites. You are absolutely right. You are right, my friend.
Well, yeah. Again, thank you guys for having me on. It's great to share the screen with Michael, and hopefully, I was kind of surprised. I got my first park to park with him this weekend on Support Your Parks weekend. I've had him in the lot before for hunting, but we never got a park to park because whenever he's on 40 meters, I only have a 20-meter wire width or whatever. It just never lined up. So one thing I would like to do, since you're close to the eastern terminus of the Ice Age Trail, and I'm right next to the western, I'd love to schedule an outing where we do a park to park from the same park at the opposite end of the state. If we can do an Ice Age Trail bookends for that.
that would be cool. That would be cool.
Yeah. So, but far as
Would you
me,
wait, hold on. You just gave me an idea though, Scout.
Uh-oh.
Do you bring Shaq and Greg? Look at him.
That could be dangerous. That could be dangerous.
I need more people around with when I'm with Shaq and Greg than just Shaq and Greg because he's a bad influence on me.
No, he's not.
He's a bad influence on all of our livers.
He's a good influence on all of us.
He's a great friend of mine, and I love hanging out with him. I'm just teasing him, but yeah, you just got.
Yeah, go ahead, Molson. Yep, I didn't forget you. Go ahead.
I remember what the second thing I had to say before is do not forget that right after this show, you're going to go to Digital Rancher's YouTube channel for those who want to. And he has something coming up next. And I want to make sure that we send the traffic his way if you have the opportunity to go. So sorry to interrupt, but
No.
to you.
That's important.
Links
That's
in the
important
chat.
stuff.
Yep.
That's important stuff. And guys, if you can't watch it tonight for whatever reason, that's why YouTube made that thing that we did #team replay. So absolutely. Steve, your choice. Would you like the last words or do you want me to have it?
No, you
what
can
would
have
you like?
You can have the last. I got out for Support Your Parks weekend. Bands were horrible. Took me 3 hours to get 10 contacts. So I'm still working on getting the rest of the state done. Like I said, once I figure out the driver issues with DaVinci, I'll get a couple of videos out here real soon. Other than that, I'm here on Tuesdays.
Okay. All right. It's been said 1,000 times, but I'm going to do 1,001. Michael, thank you very, very much. It's been an honor to meet you here in this type of format. Maybe someday at a national ham fest or something, we can bump into each other. I presume us shaking hands will not be so awkward as what it was for you and Molson. I promise you that. But
we were rudely ushered out of that Icon booth. So that got crazy all of a sudden.
It was probably Daniel's fault.
Yeah.
yes, they got nervous.
Y'all take that awkward stuff out of here.
Yeah. You, I saw you on YouTube arming the cow. Get out. Anyway, hey, listen, I want to thank everybody in the chat. Don't forget to buy me a coffee. Links are always up available. We're going to start growing that fund again, and we're going to think about maybe for the fall, maybe for a Christmas gift, we'll do some type of giveaway. Who knows? You know what we do, guys. We'll do it at the last minute like we always do, but it'll still be fun, and we'll figure it out. We're going to be back here again next week. I don't know if we're going to have a guest or if we're just going to do some different shenanigans. Final words to Bean, 7 3s and 88s, girl, and condolences to your family. You went to, as we said last week, you blessed us in this hobby, and we are very, very grateful. It was sad for me to go up and say goodbye to you today, but it was there. The Clubhouse flowers were right there next to you, and it was nice to see the Clubhouse flowers there, as well as so many other beautiful tributes to you, not only in flowers but pictures, your family. I met the family, and man, was I honored. I was really, really honored to meet them and say thank you for bringing her into this world and blessing us in this crazy world that we live in. So I want everyone to have peace. Go make some contacts, whether you can make 10 or whether you can make 100, and that's it from here. So we're going to say wave that awkward goodbye and that 73s, and we'll see everybody next week.
Bye.
Be safe, y'all. Bye.
73.
Man, I got to write an apology letter now to KAMRD.